Hello, my dear Leo rising friends. So I'm here today to share your 2021 horoscope. I hope you will enjoy it, and if you do so, then please press like. So we have survived 2020, and it was a life-changing year for all of us, I guess. But 2021 is at the corner, so we have to move on and create a new life path for us. The biggest and most consistent aspect of the year will be the Uranus and Saturn square. And basically, it will affect us the entire year. And I believe that it's going to be affecting you a lot more than anyone else, because that planetary alignment is going to be happening in fixed signs. And actually, your ascendant is also a fixed sign. So this Uranus and Saturn square is going to be triggering your seventh and 10th house. So it is pretty much going to be asking you the question, who are you? It's going to be bringing in the most important topics of our life, and most probably that's going to be the career and relationship for you. Seventh house rules relationships, and the 10th house is something to do with your social status and your career. So let's just dive into a little bit more what Uranus represents. So Uranus in your chart represents what you need to break away from. This is a planet which is very much about innovation, rebellious energies, and kind of trying to gain freedom. And Saturn is all about the structure of our life. It's all about the tests, the break, and the obstacles we have to face. So this time around, these two planets are going to be asking you, what area of life are you feeling blocked? Are you feeling blocked in your relationship? Do you feel lonely? And how can you be free? How can you be more free in your relationships? Or what type of behaviors you need to break away from? Some type of behaviors you portray in your own relationship. So this is an exciting period for you because it can liberate your relationship if you want to go in you want to discover kind of the deeper meaning of your relationship. Uranus is somehow the planet of gifts and presents, so it can give you plenty of presents in your relationship, but you need to be kind of transforming within. Of course, some of you might divorce, unfortunately, especially those ones are in a little bit of a danger who have got their descendants somewhere between 6 to 13 degrees. Because then Uranus is going to be squaring your descendant 3 times next year. And descendant is your marriage point in the chart. And Uranus is kind of, as I said, wants to liberate your relationship. It really wants you to somehow basically go back to basics. With Uranus, always the Tower card comes to my mind from the tarot cards, which is all about the lightning bolts striking the tower, and then some parts of the tower just falls down. And this is exactly what needs to be happening here as well with you. Some of your rigid way of thinking about relationship need to change, and somehow you are required to go back to basics and probably have some fun in your relationships as well. It's not just about pleasing others. It's not just about obligations we need to do or we need to do in our relationships, but as well as focusing on our social status, focusing on our long-term goals as well. Those who are single, actually Uranus and Saturn can bring you a relationship, and it could be quite a shock. You might have been single for a while, or it could be just a sudden electrifying type of relationship. It could bring someone into your life you would kind of never go out with. So the person can have quite loads of Aquarius traits, which could be all about fun and social activities. And somehow the person is electrifying you. Somehow the person wants to get you out of your comfort zone. Let's not forget that fixed people tend to focus a lot on stability. If you have a divorce going on for a while, actually, the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction with the Uranus square, it could bring your divorce quicker. Even you can have settlements with your partner once Jupiter moves into your 8th house, which is very much about alimony and some type of financial settlement and so forth. If you have been working with clients, especially online, then this Jupiter Saturn conjunction happening in your 7th house actually can bring a lot more attention to you, to your channels. You might be even forming some business partnerships, which you can benefit from quite a lot. Jupiter is all about gifts and it's all about benefits. But also that Uranus in your 10th house very much talks about how much you limit yourself in your career. Is it something boring? You do need to understand with Uranus that you have got an endless future ahead of you, but you might be held back by your relationship, or you might be held back by wanting to please others. Yes, Uranus is all about team spirit, but at the same time, it is all about following your own dreams as well. And because Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, which is the comfort zone, Uranus is kind of asking you to break out of your comfort zone, to come out of your shell a little bit and be more innovative, come up with plenty of ideas. Uranus might want you to suddenly change your career as well, to suddenly align yourself with your goals and asking you the question, what is inspiring you? Of course, we are all limited by what is going on in our society, but you do need to understand that this is also your own limitations as well. So Uranus in your 10th house is very much about, okay, you have been limited by the society, by the government, by hierarchy figures, but what are you going to do about it? Uranus is the planet of self-employment, startup companies. Are you thinking about opening one for yourself? And Mars will join Uranus as well in January for a good 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So actually, Mars conjoining Uranus in your 10th house is actually a great period of time to make some type of decisions. What is my life path? What do I want to work as, especially if you don't have a career? Mars is going to be giving you drive and motivation to make those necessary changes. And I think after having Mars in the sign of Aries for 6 months, to a certain extent, it's going to be a relief for many of us because, that 6 month energy was full on, and it was a little bit, probably it became stagnant for many of us, especially considering what was going on in the world in 2020. Now, that electrifying energy with the Uranus and Mars combination, it will definitely about breaking away from stagnant patterns. You must be inventive and thinking about what interests you the most. You will also have Jupiter going into the sign of Pisces, joining Neptune in your 8th house. Now, 8th house is the house of investments, the house of intimate relationships. So this could be actually a great time for you to think about, as I said, business opportunities, what I can invest my money into. But with Neptune, you do need to be careful because Neptune tends to offer something which is all shiny and beautiful, but not necessarily the greatest. Neptune with the eighth house, we can be spending money like there is no tomorrow. So you do need to be careful about it. Whether you want a bank loan, you might want to consult with someone. Will I be able to pay that back? Or is the business idea good enough? For instance, I do horary consultations, and that's actually fantastic for these type of questions. Um, Also, speaking about relationships, some of you might actually get married suddenly this year. And the reason being is because Uranus and Saturn square could also talk about taking something to the next level. And of course, your descendant is ruled by Saturn and it's in a strong position. We don't necessarily need to be scared of Saturn. Actually, in good marriages, necessarily have to have good aspects, good Saturn somehow, because Saturn is the planet of commitment. It brings things together. It formalizes, gives a shape to something. So some of you might be thinking how we can take our relationship to the next level. So it might be marriage, it might be moving together. Moving together comes from the fact that that's fourth. The seventh house is the fourth from the fourth. So it could be showing relocation into a different department. Not to mention that you are going to be having your eclipse in the fifth house, which is the house of self-employment, entertainment business, taking some type of risk in our life, but also children. So you might want to be taking your relationship to the next level by having a kid coming around. And of course, Saturn is going to be staying in your seventh house for 2.5 years. So it is going to be asking a couple of questions from you, surely. It is going to tell you to commit to a relationship or realize that it doesn't go anywhere. It won't get any better. And you have to make a decision about it. But at the same time, it is also going to be asking you to take responsibility for things, what has happened in the relationship, because we need two to tango. It is going to be working with your fears as well. So, what are you afraid of in your relationship? What kind of self destructive behavior did you create for yourself, which might be holding you back in intimacy matters? And how can I be honest about it? So, the next 2 years, it will be a topic. These will be a topic for you. In 2021, especially those who have got their rising sign somewhere, I would say between 2 to 14 degrees. And the rest of you, Leo, will feel that in 2022. Now, Neptune will be between 20 to 24 degrees in your eighth house. So, as I mentioned, Jupiter will join the eighth house as well in the middle of the summer, between May and July, August time. So, that's when you especially need to be careful about how you spend your money. But if you have got any planet between 20 to 24 degrees in the eighth house, you especially need to be careful about your financials and your expenditure. Neptune rules bigger expenditures. So the money easily can flow out of our hand. Also, pay attention to joint resources, especially if you are going through a divorce, because the partner might deceive you somehow. Neptune is the planet of illusions, delusions, disappointments. So if you are planning to take on a loan or a mortgage, just be careful about it. Make sure that you pay your bills on time because Neptune tends to make us a little bit forgetful. Um, Also, be mindful about Neptune if it's squaring or opposing one of your financial planets. Now, the financial planets are going to be the ruler of your second, eighth house, and 11th house. At the same time, Pluto will be between 24 to 26 degrees, and it's going to be transiting your sixth house. So Pluto is all about digging deep and somehow bringing something to the surface. So it might be something to do with your lifestyle, or you might have been having some health issues, which is time to kind of discover and then bring it to the surface. Maybe it is all about talking about it, or actually visiting an expertise who can help you in that department. Pluto can also bring some transformation in your everyday life, meaning that, for instance, you might want to join a gym, you might want to change your eating habits, but especially if you have got your midheaven somewhere between 24 to 26, 27 degree of earth signs, then it could bring you a very positive transformation in your career, just like Uranus suggests that in your 10th house. There will be a retrograde cycle going on as well in 2021, and that's going to be Mercury going through your social houses. Now, the social houses are all about how I interact with others, how I connect to others, as well as what type of friendships I am having. So, this could be a period of time when you are making more friends, when you are going to be meeting a possible new partner if you are single, or even it could be triggering something in your social media channels as well. So Mercury might be the retrograde period might be asking you to revisit the way you connect with others. Am I using the right social media platform? Am I posting the right, articles or pictures and so forth? But when Mercury retrograde is going to be happening in your seventh house, clearly it is going to be asking you to revisit some of those relationship topics, which I have already mentioned with Saturn. So why am I afraid of being in a relationship? What is holding me back? Is it the right relationship? And so forth. So that could be quite an emphasized period of time for you. And that's going to be happening for you in the first part of the year. Therefore, I put the Mercury retrograde dates on top of the screen so you can actually plan with that. So as I said, you will also have 4 eclipses happening this year, and the eclipses are going to be taking place in Gemini and Sagittarius. Now, the North Node is more about what we need to learn in this year. And that is going to be happening in your 11th house. So I put the keywords for North Node as well. But to summarize that, North Node is the path we should be taking, we should learn about, as well as it could bring you some type of obsession as well. Because it's going to be happening in your 11th house. You can actually be obsessed with your friends to make powerful connections with others. 11th house is an advisory position type of energy. So I classify, for instance, HR positions with 11th house because that's exactly what their job role includes. So you might be meeting in the next 1 year benefactors in your life, someone who might be helping you to transform your life. But the major message with that North Node in the 11th house is to think about your long-term goals, knowing that what you do in 2021 is going to be determining the next 20 years in your life. And the South Node, which is going to be going through your 5th house, it is asking you to somehow balance out your focus maybe on on your self-expression, on your creativity. The North Node is going to be telling you to focus more on group activities. So becoming a member of a tribe, for instance. Having South Node in the fifth house doesn't necessarily mean that we do need to let go of the idea of having a child if you want one. But because we've got that Saturn, Jupiter going through your seventh house, what I would recommend is that talk to your partner about it. Are you 100% sure that you want to commit to a child? Before you have a baby, just look into the mirror, very much seventh house, see your own reflection and think about it. But the South Node is always kind of indicating something about your comfort zone, and meaning that you need to come away from your comfort zone. It might be some type of childhood traumas you need to let go of, especially if you have got a low dignity planet in the fifth house, such as Saturn or Mars. However, they could act benefics as well. So I wouldn't necessarily um, say that they are always malefic. So, but children also can be a major topic. Just you need to be thinking about it. Am I going to regret to have a child, for instance, at an early age? Or am I going to be missing out on something? Because your chart is very much about focusing on your career, focusing on your social status as well. By the way, that yes, that Uranus trigger in your 10th house is also about social status. So it could bring, as I said, sudden marriage and then eventually a baby as well. And it might be fulfilling your life. But we know that Leo is a leadership energy. So they want to be respected, they want to be admired. Somehow they want to be um, being in the spotlight. And if you feel that you haven't really reached that spotlight yet in your life, then Uranus and the North Node in your 10th and 11th house definitely asking you to think about that. Well, 2021 is going to be an easier year for you. We're gonna be seeing some uplifting energy. Definitely the Saturn and the Uranus square, which is going to be present in the entire year, could bring us some type of challenges, but it's going to be more about breaking away from the past. And that's the major message what I would give you. Well, I would like to thank you for your continuous support in 2020. I wish you a beautiful Christmas and a prosperous 2021. And I'm hoping that you will be continuing to support my channel in 2021 as well. Take care of yourself, dear Leo, and see you next year. Bye-bye.